new Sonic the Hedgehog TV show has been in development for quite some time now, and we finally have an update on it. Hey, what's up everyone, it's me, SpeedSuperSonic, bringing you guys another video, and in this video today, yes, that is right, we are talking about a new Sonic the Hedgehog TV show. I'm sure a lot of you guys are confused, especially how I started off this video with saying that it's been in development for a while, and that's because it has. It's just no one really talks about this outside of me. Further reason for you guys to subscribe to the channel if you're not, as we talk about all things Sonic the Hedgehog here. But that's right, let me give you the rundown real quick. It has been known for quite some time now, after the ending of Sonic Prime, that hey, we're probably going to get a new Sonic animated series at some point in the future. Not something connected to the Sonic movie universe. The next show that will follow in the line of Sonic X and Boom and Prime, what will the next installment be? Well, Daniel RPK said a long time ago that a new Sonic animated show was in the works. No further details were given on that whatsoever. We don't know a studio that is behind it. We don't know what streaming service it would go on, or if they would maybe take the cable approach. There's no way. And before we continue any further, I just want to say that Daniel RPK, yes, is reliable. He's been giving a lot of reports about Sonic Movie 4 that we will be talking about soon, so there's no way to validate if those are true or not. But in terms of reports that he has given us and updates that he has given us from the Sonic movie, specifically Sonic Movie 3, they've all been right, so I think that he is a source that we can trust. And kind of just out of the blue, recently he stated again that a Sonic animated series is in development. He's essentially saying the same thing that he did last time about a new show, but is once again reiterating it. Maybe he's saying it again because he's received more info or stuff in regards to the show that validates the legitimacy of a new Sonic animated series being in the works. And there's a lot of thoughts to be had there. One, let's just talk about the fact that there's a new show that will be coming. Of course, no official announcement yet, so take it with a grain of salt. And also don't expect anything immediate, as this is not an official announcement, but at least knowing that there's something in the works behind the scenes is exciting. It seems like just yesterday, but Sonic Prime ended a while ago. When you Google Sonic Prime, it might say ran from 2022 to 2024. It did not last nearly that long, with that show starting at the very end of 2022 and ending at the very beginning of 2024. Literally like within like the last week or two of their respective years. Sonic Prime did not run for a long time. It was essentially one season that was just split up into 3 parts, so they had more content to spread out over the course of the duration of the show. We could talk about Sonic Prime all we want, and we've talked about it a lot on this channel. I'll reiterate my thoughts again. I love the first season. I love a lot of season 2, and then it kind of trails off after that point towards the tail end of 2, and 3 is just a mess. And it has kind of left Prime as like the bastard child of modern Sonic media. A lot of fans hate that show with a burning passion. I'm not one of those, as I think there's a lot of really good stuff in Prime, but I also don't think it was necessarily the show that everybody wanted. I think everybody wanted a show that could, you know, run for a long course of time, take on story arcs and character arcs, and do all of this really cool fun stuff. Maybe adapt some stuff from the games, maybe be more directly inspired by the games. I like the original story approach that Prime took, but I think a lot of people have been really just wanting to see essentially IEW translated into a TV show format, which I think would work great. So I think that Sega immediately going from Prime, which I'm not surprised at all that they want to move on to a different creative partner for a new Sonic show. And also I wouldn't be surprised at all if Sega saw some of the mixed reception from specifically the fan base in regards to Prime and want to deliver something that's more pleasing to that audience, especially after their big successes with their own in-house animation, like with Sonic X Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings. The Sonic franchise is just a bunch of different pillars. You have the video game pillar, the movie pillar, the show pillar, the comic pillar, and the merchandise pillar. But for being one of the pillars of the brand, TV shows are greatly overlooked by this community in terms of their significance and how much they mean to the franchise. Prime, whether you liked it or not, was a massive success. It was one of Netflix's most popular original programs, and merchandise is still in stores to this day for good reason, because it's selling. They've reissued a lot of their merchandise because people buy them. I knew people personally in my life who knew young children who watched Sonic Prime. And let me clarify, when I say they knew young children, like family or they babysat, like not like they knew kids personally that they hung out with. Like I'm not hanging out with. Shows mean so much more than people realize. Sonic X made me a Sonic fan. I would not be here today and have wasted all of this money on Sonic merchandise if I didn't end up watching that show. I'm sure Boom, despite what we know happened there with that franchise, probably created a lot of fans, and I'm sure Prime will do the same. You probably won't see those kids represented in a while because they're kids still. But best believe in a few years you're gonna see a brigade of Sonic fans who preach that Sonic Prime was one of the best pieces of Sonic media ever from rooftops. It's important to keep that train rolling. It creates revenue, it creates brand recognition, it creates a new way to experience Sonic the Hedgehog. I used to have the mentality of you always need a Sonic show on the air at all times. I don't really subscribe to that ideology anymore. I think that we're receiving enough media right now and Sonic is in a healthy enough place enough right now to where you don't need one on at all times. You can have a few year gap, but you can't like go 10 years without a new show. I understand a lot of other video games have not received as many shows as Sonic. In fact, I think Sonic might have the most individual shows out of any video game franchise. Let me know in the comments if that's true. But Sonic is not those other video game franchises. You know, he needs those shows because he's one of the largest, not just video games in the world, but brands now. And TV is a great vehicle of promoting the brand and getting more people to enjoy it. And also, I just love getting new stories to talk about and things to get excited for. Sega's very aware of that. I think that it's now time, now that almost all of 2024 and now 2025 have gone by without a new series. And while I don't think 2026 will have that new series either, I think there's a good chance we can get an announcement next year if there's indeed one in development right now. Of course, like I said earlier in the video, we know close to nothing about what this show is or what it's going to be. I have some predictions I've thrown out. I've talked about this a lot in other videos and even live streams, but I could very well see a new Sonic show coming to Paramount Plus / Nickelodeon, where the show will debut its episodes on Paramount Plus and then probably next day or a week after have that episode released on Nickelodeon. We've also seen Disney been making more efforts in acquiring shows from other brands and companies that aren't necessarily in-house by them. I mean, they have a new Power Ranger show coming out soon. That's not Disney. So much other stuff too. I wouldn't be surprised at all if maybe Sega wants to start toying with other big media conglomerates like a Disney to sweeten up potential future contract renewals with Paramount, showing, hey, we're not strictly tied to you guys. Netflix is always a place that they could go back to, never rule them out. I would hate Peacock, but that's not out of the question either. Something I think we could safely say though is that it's not going to strictly come to cable because it's 2025, or by the time this show comes out, 2027. Regardless, there are a lot of places that this could show up, but my top guesses right now, if I had to go with them, I know it's a little cop-out because I'm going to say 3, but it would be Paramount Plus / Nickelodeon, Hulu / Disney Plus, and also Netflix. I really wish that Daniel RPK specified more, like who was the animation house that's making it, what studio in general is behind this new show, but once again, he could be being so vague because he doesn't know if there's a new Sonic show in the works and that this is just a really smart, educated guess. Of course there's gonna be a new Sonic show at some point, so if he just loosely says that a new Sonic show is coming and then it just so happens to get announced, boom, he's right. That could also be very much so the truth, but because he has gotten things in the right, I'm not gonna completely write him off. In terms of a new show, what would I like to see from it? There's a lot I would like to see. I kind of alluded to it earlier. I would love to see the IDW comics kind of translated into TV show. I'm not saying I directly want a adaptation of those comics because we already have those stories already. I feel like a lot of fans would be kind of disappointed if they just had to like almost Game of Thrones it and be like, okay, I've kind of seen this story already. Maybe they could add some new jokes or little twists in there to make it its own thing a little bit, but I kind of just want to see them take the way that IDW does stories and translate that into a TV show. Have arcs, have more downtime, have more character moments. That's really what I want to see. A show in Sonic's world that doesn't need to have some twist. We don't need to go to different dimensions. We don't need to go to Earth. We don't need to have this set in a Seinfeld universe where all they do is go to burger joints and get up to shenanigans. As much as I might love a lot of those shows, I think we're ready for a definitive Sonic show, because as of right now, Sonic X is really the most definitive Sonic show we have. Prime almost got there, but with it being a multi-dimensional show, you know, a lot of the characters in there aren't our typical characters. It's really more of a Sonic-centric story of him going on his own individual adventure. I think we want to see a show with a fleshed out cast of a bunch of characters, you know, every character that you could imagine in there, taking on new bad guys all the time. That's really what we want to see. I think it's not a necessarily hard concept to do. It might be hard to do that now because you need something to more differentiate itself from, you know, the main universe, and also merchandising is a big part of that. You want that gimmick which Prime had with, you know, the multiple different versions of the characters, so you can sell a bunch of different toys, and Sonic getting new gloves and shoes was the most toyetic thing they've ever done to this franchise. I don't know how you actually get more toyetic than Sonic Prime. That was the most toyetic show ever conceived in humanity. But you know, I'm sure they'll find a way. I just want a solid Sonic show, man, and I really hope that that's the direction that they'll take with this next one. We'll see what happens. We'll see what they choose to do. You never know, this next Sonic show could come out and be something completely different than we can even conceive in our brains right now. They could have this be a classic Sonic show, which I'd be very upset with, or a spin-off show focusing on just one character. I don't think that's what will happen. I think it will be that next big Sonic show where Sonic's the main character and you have the cast and everything. But I don't know, I think Sonic Prime went right in a lot of ways for Sega and the brand, but also went wrong in a lot of places and didn't go necessarily as ideal as I think Sega would have liked for it to go. I mean, once again, that show ran for not a very long time. Like I said, it might seem like it ran for 3 years. It really basically just ran for a little over 1. Sonic Prime kind of was here and gone very quickly. I think Sega, for their own good, would like a show that runs for at least, you know, the length of Sonic X or even Boom. You get a good few consistent years out of that show to continue promoting it and having that show promote your games and movies and also continue to make a bunch of different toys and stuff like that. I don't know how long we can get a Sonic show to run, but if it could be long, that would be amazing. Sonic Boom and X respectively have been our longest each, with both of them coming out at around, I believe, 3 years each. I would love a Sonic show that could run much longer than that. I'm not saying it needs to run 10 years or needs to be SpongeBob or Simpsons level, but I don't know, at least give us like 2012 Ninja Turtle shows, or really any of the Ninja Turtle shows before Rise of the Ninja Turtles, because all they seem to be able to muster up is like 2 seasons each. Unfortunately, I think that's a big indicator on where TV is right now, and especially children's animated programming, just not being able to have those legs. With the death of cable, you know, people aren't as attached to their TV screens anymore, so it's hard to, you know, have a show be renewed for more and more and more. As I said earlier, I think TV is such an important part of this franchise and is so overlooked by a lot of people. I'm really glad that Daniel RPK has come out and said that a new show is in development. Once again, take it with a grain of salt, but that's only a good thing, and I think that following up Prime so quickly with a new show is the best move. You want to get that new show out there. We have so many cool projects coming up. You have the 35th anniversary next year. It's surely going to have some really cool games. Sonic Movie 4 is going to have its marketing rollout start around this time next year, I suppose. And then that movie comes out in 2027. I'm sure 2027 will see its own games and hopefully will finally deliver us a new show you want a show to go alongside all of this stuff and keep the ball rolling on this franchise. I'm just really excited for this. Like I said, I think it's important. I love TV and I love Sonic on TV because it is such a fun part of this franchise, which you think more people would care about and talk about, but they really don't, which is why I love talking about it so much. So if you guys want to stay tuned about all things on this new Sonic TV show, the second we hear an official announcement about it, or we get a leak, or we get some news on it, this is the spot to be because we will be the first to get to it. Make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button. Also, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about a new Sonic TV show. Where do you want it to air on? What streaming service? And also, what do you want the show to be about? What do you want to see in a new Sonic TV show? Let me know all of your thoughts and ideas in the comment section down below. I'd love to know what you guys have to say. Feel free to follow my social media links, my Twitter and Instagram in the description below. You can follow this my Teams in Life, future content, and all things Sonic the Hedgehog. But most importantly, if you're not subscribed, make sure that you are subscribed. This is the #1 destination on YouTube for all things Sonic. We talk about video games, TV shows, movies, comics, merchandise, and more. We go over it all. I have so many amazing videos in the works for you guys. We have so many cool things coming. But before we continue any further, I just want to thank Figgies for sponsoring this video. Figgies is a brand new, unique line of collectibles featuring your favorite Sonic the Hedgehog characters. You can display them in a variety of different ways. It is truly awesome. If you guys have been keeping up with the channel, I have shown you so many different waves of Figgies from their modern and classic lines. And right here, I have been sent wave 2 of their modern Sonic line. So without any further ado, let's take a look at who we got. First up, we have Super Sonic, Knuckles the Echidna, Metal Sonic, and Dr. Eggman. I don't know how it's possible, but Figgies keeps stepping up their game. And if you want to get your hands on the latest line of Figgies, make sure that you click my link in the description below and use my code to save 5% on your Figgies order. Thank you again to Figgies for sponsoring this video. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out. Right by the motherfucking seaside, dog. Everything I see, I got a dream. I thought these leaves would go and take me out the dark. I know everything I wanted to far away.